All right, we are live. Another exciting episode of Legacy Lounge Podcast. Man, today we're going to talk about the next level you, get into that next version of you, B2.0. Got the founders right here with us. Hey, Kenny, I'm going to kick it off to you, man. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about the group. Tell us a little bit about B2.0. Tell us how do we get to the next level version of ourselves.
Yeah, so I am the founder CEO of Be2.0. B2.0 is very, very simple. It's a personal development company, and our mission is to be able to help the agents become the most competent version of themselves, right? When we think about the financial space, we all here are in the financial space today as of right now. And, 80% of the people that's in the financial space, they fell. And I want to challenge that statistic. Remember last time we spoke 2 weeks ago on the podcast, how do we challenge that statistic, right? We challenge everything else as a company. Let's go challenge that. And I meant it. So I developed B2.0 so we're able to help financial professionals become the 2.0 version of themselves, right? A lot of people are coming into this industry from another industry, whether they're firefighters, doctors, nurses, mechanics, right? And when I meet them, I'm like, wait a minute, the internal dialogue, they're saying to themselves, I'm not good enough. I ain't go to school for finance. I'm just a mechanic, or I'm just a nurse. What do I know about finance? Who am I to help somebody with finance? So we are able to become the 2.0 version of themselves and change that dialogue of how they talk to themselves and say, you are deserving. This is the new you, and this is the new you in your life, and you are able to help people with finance, and you have the team to support that. And our vision is to be able to help over 5,000 people become competent in their careers, competent and being able to understand how to, become successful at what they do by becoming 2.0 version of themselves.
All right. I know y'all want to back that up with some heat, with some fire. What else y'all got for us?
Yeah. For one, iron sharpens iron. I think we can all agree to that, right? Iron sharpens iron. And I think that is one of the most important things, is being able to be in an environment where you're able to feel the energy off of someone else to say, okay, well, if Kenny has that lion mentality, well, I think I need to adapt that too, right? If Tino has that, that killer mentality, killer with integrity mentality, well, I need to adopt that too. And so, being able to adapt to a situation where you understand what's in front of you. And so with B2.0 is being able to be the best version of yourself, and understanding that, there's much more that there's to be accomplished, and it all starts with you. So, I think today we're going to talk about a lot of things that kind of brings that out of each one of us, and how we can kind of help the audience do the same thing. So I'm excited to get into it. What you got?
Right, what you got for us, Danny?
Hey, I have to agree with them 100%, because in order for us to know that we have to become the level 2, the version 2 of ourselves, we have to realize that we're not where we want to be. And Jacquez said it best: iron sharpens iron. When I first met Kenny, I was like, oh, this dude he's lit. Like, I saw him a couple months ago. I didn't get to talk to him face to face at the time, but when I met him in Arizona, we just linked up and we started connecting. And I realized that the Kenny that was on stage is the same Kenny that I get to talk to on a day-by-day basis while we're building this community. So iron sharpening iron is absolutely correct. The B2.0 is literally what we're doing here to help other people get to where they got to go. And laying down the whole framework and the coursework, like, all this is exciting, bro. I can't even keep it together, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, so I know last time when we had Kenny on, he shared a little bit about his story, his background, and then, even kicked it off this episode with the whole mission and vision. But introduce yourselves, Danny and Jacquez, to the people. Tell them a little bit about your story. Let them be able to connect to you, your story, your background, and your journey so far.
Go ahead, Jacquez. I'll let you go.
All right. Well, I always like to say, for me, Jacquez Baldwin, and I'm a leader. I'm competent. I'm a faithful guy. I'm a man of God. I'm purposeful. And I think that being in an environment where, especially where I grew up, is I got to see a lot of different perspectives. I like to see some great things, some not so great things. And I think that me growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, I realized that I had to kind of shift and change my environment. And I ended up going to North Carolina. When I went to North Carolina, I went to school. And I think the best thing that could happen to me is realizing that I was trying to put myself out of an environment and put myself in a new environment. But because I had the same identity, or I was the same Quez coming from the old environment, I end up surrounding myself around the same people that I had just left. Once I realized that, it's something that had happened to me. And really what that was, would end up happening while I was in college, my sophomore year. My stepdad ended up getting cancer. And when that happened, I'm thinking, well, when you hear that C word, it's heartfelt. You think the whole world is finna end. A lot of things start going on in your head. And around that time, I said, well, I got to do something. I felt like everything was on my back. I felt like now I gotta be the man, even though I'm in college and my family at home. So I was like, I kind of shifted my mindset to like, okay, I got to be that guy to put my family on my back. Come to find out, it was just prostate cancer, and he got rid of it. He's good. But that shifted my environment simply because I picked up a book. It's one of the first books I really started reading, and it was called Brainwash. And I realized that Brainwash was a book that talked about how my culture, my environment that I was caught up in, it was telling us how we all was brainwashed with propaganda. And once I realized that, I intentionally put myself into this business networking group in school, and I found a mentor. My mentor changed the way that I saw things, and he shifted my perspective. And I think that since then, he told me about generational wealth and wealth in general. And that's when I was like, okay, I got to take this more seriously. And I think that because of him and because of the people that I surrounded myself with, I realized that, okay, there's much more in life. And I started to go out and get it. And I think that one of the caveats, or I would say the fruits of that, is meeting someone like Kenny, in which me and him been running ever since. So that's a little bit about me. And I think it kind of puts a testimony towards what we're creating as well.
All right. How about you, Danny?
Interesting. So with myself, I got to kind of thank my dad for the path that I'm on right now, because when I was younger, I wanted to play basketball. That was my thing. I started playing basketball in 7th grade, and I really wanted to be like a professional basketball player. But my dad one day told me, he said, one day your body's going to give out. So focus on developing your mind. And I took that to heart. I was like, my dreams are crushed. Like, I wanted to play. And I was good. I was decent. But then he started doing these different entrepreneurial things. He started getting into these different businesses, and he would tag me along with my mom and the rest of my siblings. And I found out, like, seeing them go through this journey, I said, wow, I don't have to be at a job to make money. Like, I can make money outside of a job. And my mind was blown. I was 18 years old when they signed me up in whatever business they were doing, selling juice. And my eyes were open. And he said, here, read this book. And it was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that's like the entry level for anything entrepreneur, to like understand how cash flow works, how the mindset works in order to become an employee, and then self-employed, and then a business owner and investor. And I read that and I said, whoa. So him putting me on that path to look at earning money in a different way started having me go through all these different paths myself to figure out how to make money. But the problem was, I was trying to learn how to make money. I wasn't learning how to make myself be better, because it doesn't matter how much money you make. If your mentality doesn't level up, you're only going to make as much money as where your mentality is at.
That's good.
And that's the biggest fight that I have, is in between my ears. And that's the biggest fight we all have, which is why we all look at developing different parts of our lives, because we want to get better. So that's basically where I started at, is started reading the book, started developing my mind. One thing led to another, and here I am.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I know when they talk about entrepreneurship, it's like it's a personal development program with monetary rewards attached to it. But the thing that it is so amazing is that everybody kind of hit on the people who they're surrounded by, whether it was your father, whether it was other leaders, getting in different environments. And also, what are you feeding your mind? What are you putting in yourself? Everybody on the screen right now, we're all in different states, or all over the country. So, let's talk a little bit about the importance of that environment, because it seems like everybody was in one place, they got into another place, different environment, opened up their mind, a complete mental shift, and that's what kind of led into this BU 2.0. So tell us a little bit about why environment's so important.
Yeah, I could take this one. So environment's so important. I learned this by being around very, very successful people. And I realized they create their own environment. They create their own world. And the things that they don't want inside of their world and their environment, they shut it out. And if that's being by yourself until your tribe that you attract come to you, then so be it. So environment, it's super important to growth because we all have a vision, and we plant our seed, and with that vision, how fertile the soil is going to figure out it's going to bear the fruit, whether it's fruitful or not. It's going to grow, right? You may bear fruit from planting something, but if the environment is not healthy, the fruit that is bear, it may not be edible. So being able to understand, I might be the soil, the fruit, and I'm going to water it by myself without having other people, because they may not know where you are right now, right? Just because you see better for yourself doesn't mean the people around you see better for them, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. So you may have to rock alone. And my career as a financial professional was tough, right? Because the first 3 years I was by myself. Financial literacy just became cool in 2020. Before that, I was a weird kid in the office that's talking about life insurance and annuities and stocks and things of that nature. Like, what is he talking about? What is a trust? What is a will? Like, why? We don't care. They want to go out and party and drink and whatever, right? Granted, I was 21 years old with all this information that people at 30, 35 don't even know. So me trying to connect with my peers is a disconnect, because they're not even thinking about next week or next year. They're only living day to day. So being able to surround myself with people that's older than me was really a game changer. I realized maturity do come with age and with experiences. So being able to have that discernment and saying, all right, I'm going to be around people that's older so I could get some wisdom from them. And I think environment is very important. But if you don't have that environment, you're going to create it for yourself. And then you are able to attract people that is like-minded. So don't be afraid to plant yourself and water yourself.
Yeah, so let me ask this, and this could be a question that anybody can answer. What was in you that caused that change where it was like, hey, I need to get into a different environment? What was that desire, or, that thing that you felt was missing where it was like, okay, I got to make a change happen?
I want to say it's something called the law of exposure, right? It's like once you get exposed, you can't get unexposed, right? Because it's like once your eyes open up to something, it's really hard to take it away. And so it's crazy how me and Kenny met. We actually met in Miami, and I was already in the financial industry. And when me and Kenny met, we would talk about a few things, and we would talk about the financial realm, but we'll also talk about strategy. We'll also talk about business development, because I was working on a few things, he was working on a few things. And to answer your question, when I think back, what was that moment? Is literally was that exposure piece. And I would think about the stuff that I was exposed to Kenny, or from Kenny, was strategies that I had no idea of. Right?
He thought I was crazy. Everyone, by the way, he gave me no time of day. He's like, whatever, dude. And he gave me his back. I'm like, what the hell? Go on that story. You got to tell that story, because now we're here.
Yeah, because that's something that people can relate to, because I know, especially as financial professionals, some of the stuff that we talk about, people have never heard of. It is a foreign language, and it's just like, hey, I just gave you gold and you don't even realize it.
Yes. See, by the way, let me just tell you who Kenny is, right? Kenny's like, if you see B2.0, we got a logo, right? The logo is a lion, right? And when you think about a lion wakes up every day and say, hey, I know I gotta chase a cheetah. You got a hyena. I also got an elephant that might be bigger than me. I got a hyena or a cheetah that might be faster than me. But a lion's job is to go hunt. And what I admire and I appreciate about Kenny is that he's always going to go hunt, and he's going to make sure that his people are straight. And so when I first met him, one of the things that he did was it was like two different things. The financial side, he was sharing me these new strategies like 101J, DST. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? But he was sharing with me his stories with the clients. I'm like, man, this stuff works. And I never heard of it before. But then he shared with me some strategies on a business side. And he, like, when he said, well, tell you the story, man, I'm telling you, he's like, bro, look at this. He breaking it down to me. If you know Kenny, he's going to give you all the details. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know you, but I'm like, there's some big dogs in the room right now. I need to go talk to them. That's how I treated them. And I realized after we started to connect and we started, talk more and more, it ended up to where we was like, we went out, we ended up going out one time. And then since then, we talk almost every single day. I don't even think we missed a day, because when it comes to finding a running mate, when it comes to finding somebody that has a vision, that's bigger, and it's not necessarily for themselves, but it's for those that are around them. It's for themselves, their family, and also, the marketplace. And I think that, that's what that exposure piece that attracted me to being a part of something like what we have here. So, that's what it is, exposure.
Yeah. I'm gonna piggyback on them, because Kenny said something earlier about being in the right environment, that sometimes you're gonna be the soil, sometimes you're gonna be the water, you're gonna be the seed, you're gonna be the fruit of it all. And then that stage, that's true. But when you put yourself in an environment like what we're creating here with B2O, you don't have to be the soil, you don't have to be the water, you don't have to be the fruit. You get to figure out what you are and then be that best version of yourself for somebody else who is not strong in that area. So for me to to learn how to get out of my own environment, I was living in Jacksonville for, I moved out of Jacksonville in 2015, Jacksonville, Florida. And I moved out of there because I had built something with two other people that I didn't know. And it was a short thing. It didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, and it became toxic. I had to get out of my environment. And the biggest get out of my environment was to physically get out. Mm-hmm. I was ready to go to Alaska. I was going to go to Maine, just whatever the farthest place I can go to in the continental US. That's where I was going to go. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, we had the kid. We chose a couple different areas. We did a pros and cons list, and we ultimately chose Washington here. Mm-hmm. So I had to physically get myself out of that environment because it was holding me down. Nobody that I talked to in the area, like my friends and family, they didn't pay no mind. But in the Bible, I think it was in the Bible, if I'm allowed to talk about the Bible.
Yeah, go ahead.
They had mentioned something when somebody had asked where Jesus was from, and he's like, oh, Nazareth. And somebody's like, what good can come out of Nazareth? It's kind of like that. I'm not saying I'm Jesus or anything like that. What I'm saying is sometimes in your own city, you're not going to be regarded in the same light as if you went somewhere else. Your words won't hold value, or your value won't be shown where you're originally from or where you're at. Sometimes you have to get out of that environment and show yourself to other people, because when you do that is when they're going to see your light and they're going to see your shine. Because everybody that sees you in the area that you're in right now, they're only going to know all the old stuff about you. They're going to know all the bad things you did from when you was a little kid to when you was a teenager. But honestly, getting yourself out of that environment and becoming that new person, like you're literally building yourself up brick by brick in a whole new place, is a whole nother level.
So let me ask you this. You said you moved to Washington. Did you know anybody in Washington?
My best friend was the only one who lived out here, but he lived 4 hours from where I moved to. Yeah. So we didn't, bro, when we moved over here, it was me, my wife, our daughter, and a duffel bag.
Wow.
And we slept on the floor for a good minute. I was the only one working. And it was funny because I was looking at our tax returns, because I keep them from every year, from the year that we moved in. And I said, babe, how did we survive? I don't know how we survived outside of the goodness of God's grace, because there's no way that we should have been able to live over here. And it was because of where I was working at, like the favor that we found with the people that I came across helping us, because we were in an environment where people were willing to help each other. It was just something else. I thank God for it every day.
Yeah. So with that, man, this is a lot, because he's talking about transformation. He's talking about transformation on the inside and out, and even having to put yourself in new environments where you may not even know anybody. Yeah. So what are those essential things that people need to level up? Because I mean, if for somebody who may be their first time hearing something like this, this could sound extreme. It could sound scary. It could just be daunting and overwhelming. But you have 4 examples of people leveling up. So what is it that people need? Give them some action steps to get that level up.
I can answer that. It's very simple, right? It's not who you think you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not, right? People, we think we're not worthy of love, success, friendship, family, and they may think I'm not deserving all these things. Well, you are deserving all these things. Why can't you achieve, or why can't you get the things that you want? Is our self-talk. It's not who you think that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. So becoming a 2.0 version of yourself is, I want to be that person that is deserving of all the things I just mentioned. Super important, because our internal dialogue is going to impact how we deal and go through our day to day.
Yeah, and that's crucial, because oftentimes when you think about the version of you or the best version of you, we all aspire to get there, but we understand what we're not. But that comes from understanding who we are. And Dan, you mentioned about the Bible, right? And when you speak about, like, say for instance, when a lot of times people look in the mirror and they stop and they end up looking out the window, when they literally need to focus and looking into the mirror. Because when you look in the mirror, you can start seeing a reflection more and more of you. But if you take your focus off of yourself, you then start to hear all that noise of what's going on outside. And that outside noise starts to tell you all the things that you're not supposed to be, right? But when you look back into who you are, you start to realize, well, I am that type of person. I am someone of value. I am someone of purpose. I am someone that's worthy of love. I am someone that's worthy of peace. And then you can start to identify, well, okay, I'm really a God. Like I can literally put that out there. And now once I put that type of language out there, guess what? It starts to come back to you. And I believe that a lot of us have been a representation of that.
Yeah,
Man, that's powerful, because it's what you just said was, it's not even so much the next level of you, but stop believing the lies that people told about you and uncovering and discovering the true you.
Absolutely. You have to.
Absolutely. Andre said something, right? He said he has
shout out to Andre Pennington.
Yes, Sasha, the CEO of Universal Wealth, my guy. He said something. He said he have unpenetrable faith, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how do I break that down? How do me? I like to go in details. And when I heard that for the first time, it moved me, and I wrote it down. And on the plane back from Arizona to New York City, it was a 6.5 hour ride, and I'm just breaking down and writing it. And I wrote something down I want to share with everybody. Is you don't need to have all the answers to start. You need to have all the faith and belief to start, because faith will keep you disciplined, consistent, motivated, and inspired to keep it going, to evolve into a person that is able to fulfill the vision that you have for yourself. So being able to have unpenetrable faith is important, right? So you don't need to have all the answers to start. You need to have all the faith to start, because without faith, you have nothing. Faith moves mountains. I started this company based off of faith, right? Because I'm like, we are able to help so much people. I'm like, God, how do I go out and have a bigger impact? He said, well, you're not helping enough people. So I'm like, what should I start? Well, start Be2.0, start a personal development company, because you are all about personal development. Your life is personal development. So that's what I want to piggyback. And that quote was powerful. Unpenetrable faith, and being able to understand that is huge. And becoming the big 2.0 version of yourself is, how do I have that type of faith?
Yeah. So I got this question for Danny, because Kenny, you just talked about having faith to start. Danny, you mentioned just, okay, we moved, just boom. Mm-hmm. So you had to have a level of faith to do that. And you was talking about looking at your tax returns, like, man, you got to unpack that a little bit more.
Bro, it was it is a level of faith, because you asked what is an actionable step that somebody could take who has never heard anything like this before. And to have faith is major. You got to have faith, because if you can't see it in the distance, you're not going to know where you're going. Like when we drive in, we've got the headlights, we can only see so far, but we can go far because we can see that little distance.
That's good.
The first thing we have to do is we have to want to have that change. We have to want to get further. So for me, I wanted to get out of my environment, because the other result was I was going to kill somebody. I was mad, bro. I was mad. I lost a lot. I had almost perfect credit score. I lost a lot of money, and it took a hit on me mentally to the point where I felt worthless. I filed bankruptcy. Wow. And I was young. I think I was 21, 22, something like that. I lost the most amount of money I ever lost in my life starting that business, having all these different assets. And the problem that I had was that I believed what everyone else told me, and I didn't trust my own gut. I didn't seek God first in any of that. Everything that I failed in was because I didn't seek God first.
That's good.
Yeah.
And the Bible, it says seek God first, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go into the sermon, but
right.
Yeah. And Danny, I wanna share something on why I chose both of you guys to be my partners. Is I don't judge a man based off of everything going great. I judge a man character based off of adversity and getting knocked down. That's how I choose my partners. Have you failed before, and how big, and where are you now? Because we all failed, and you got back up. And I'm like, wait a minute, let's go, come back in business. Let's go and take this industry by the throat and really have a significant impact on people, because your story is your testimony, right? So I'm bringing you as a partner so we could have and have impact together. Same thing with Jaquez. You failed in a few different businesses, and you got back up, and you're more motivated. So we're gonna go and do some great things, help a lot of people, but also help our family and our legacy by being good people and being authentic and genuine and very transparent on how we do things. So your failures of people, we are a prime example of, just because you fell at one thing doesn't mean you can't be successful at another thing. It's all about your mindset. Your mindset is going to determine how you get back up. And if your mindset is self-destructive during failure, you would never get back up. So becoming a 2.0 version of yourself is being able to have a person that have a mindset that is unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Kenny, I know talking about failures, and you was talking about how the first 3 years was a struggle for you. If you could go back, right, year one, what would you do differently?
What I would do differently in year one is I would study the industry in 3 components. I would study.
Well, hold up. Before you say that, let me give people time to get their notepads out,
Right.
get it down, take a breather, like sit down, make sure, because I feel like you're about to drop something heavy.
Yeah.
So let me just make sure we're ready.
I'm gonna go deep on this one. First, I would study myself, right? What is my core values as a financial professional? What are some things I would do? And what's some things I would tolerate, and what's some things I wouldn't tolerate from myself and from clients.
Ooh,
right?
From clients. What?
Yeah.
Nobody ever says that one.
Right.
I love firing clients. One of my favorite things to do on this earth.
Hey, we're not gonna let you speed past that.
No, I'm joking. But you have to know on when people is wasting your time and people that are not, right? So being able to have that standard, because we want to work with people that want to work with us, and we're not just trying to get a deal. We're trying to have an impact on a person's legacy. And if the person that we're looking to help don't want to have an impact on their legacy, then all the things that we're just going through we're just going through the motions, and it's a waste of both of our time. That's number one. Understand collaboration is not your enemy; it's actually your superpower. Being able to collaborate with other advisors and being able to collaborate with other people that's in other industries in your company is going to take you 10 times further, because when it comes down to financial planning, it's not only about investments. You have estate planning, you have taxes, and you have a few other things that you have to put in place. But being able to have a team make you more powerful, and are able to solve bigger problems, and you have the ability to have the credibility, because you may not have the credibility and experience in year one, but you have the leverage of other people credibility that you partner up with, like a CPA, like a state attorney that been in the industry for multiple years, and that's your new, you know, I wouldn't say resume, but that's your new, I don't know. I don't know.
It's like going back to your
Yeah,
network is your network.
yeah, that's your new network of people that you have access to. Thank you. That's the second thing. And the third thing is develop yourself, because the marketplace is not going to pay you based on what you think you're worth. Your worth is going to pay you what you're actually worth. And Danny touched on training, and he said, all right, great. You will never out earn your development. So the more you develop yourself in the key areas in your business, from a personal side and from the business development side, you're going to go 10 times further, because it's so easy to win nowadays, especially in the social media age. It's because people with attention span is so short. They don't have vision and they don't have work ethic. I always say my generation is blessings and a curse at the same time, because we're blessed with abundance of information, but we're cursed with lack of patience and lack of work ethic. Patrick Bet-David, he dropped a video space breaking down Gen Zs, and they're tired of working 20 hours a week. I was in the office for 3 years, working from 7 a.m. to about 11:30, doing everything wrong.
That's the truth.
It's about 20 hours. I'm like, man, I'm going crazy right now because I had no idea what I was doing. You trying to tell me 20 hours a week you can't do? So being able to have that work ethic, you need to have that work ethic. Nobody's gonna outwork me. I nobody's gonna outwork me. I'm obsessed with what I do because I'm obsessed with helping people. So if you're not a people person and really want to help people, you're gonna make money in this industry, because based off the law of numbers, it's a numbers game. But if you want to have an impact and really, cause ruckus and impact in this business, you have to make sure you have the ability to really want to help people, not have the illusion, because we have scripts, and your words may lie, or your words may sound good, but your energy will never lie. So we could go through the script as best as we can, but how energy and going through and articulate it, and how we carry and deal with the client, they're gonna know this person is not really for me. So being able to actually want to help people and be authentic. And number 5 is going to be understand you're in business, right? And when you have a business, there's something called target audiences. You got to know who you're talking to, because this financial space have so much different products and services that we could offer. Are you going to offer everything for everybody? It's impossible. So being able to understand who you want to help, who's your target audience, because you need to know your messaging, how you communicate with your audience. Because if you try to communicate with everybody, you're gonna end up communicating with nobody. You try to sell to everybody, you end up selling to nobody. I had a call with a Prime America advisor I was gonna bring on, and she said, I don't believe in permanent life. I just do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, great, but how much money have you made so far? She made no money because she's trying to do everything, but she don't know who she's talking to. So being able to understand your target audience is going to give you the confidence to go into a room and network. Because once you know who you're looking for in a crowded room, it's like, well, where's Waldo? Well, if I know who Waldo is and what his problem is I want to solve, when I talk to him, I'm going to know that's him right there. So knowing your core audience is super important. And that's going to change as you evolve and you develop yourself. Because in the beginning, you may not be as competent and knowledgeable about financial planning, but it takes this. I have a video on our page, and I talk about we talk about how money's able to grow, right? And you earn 6-8%, and it compound through interest. But it's the same component, same mindset when it comes down to our development. We could start in year 1 and drop 1 bucket, but it provide dividends later on. So don't stop. You may go through some storms and it may be difficult in the beginning. Do you stop? We pull back. When we came into this world, it took us 8 months to be birthed. or 9 months to be birthed. Did we stop at month 2 or no, month 3 and self-sabotage ourselves in our mother's womb? No, we stood through the process and to get to this where we are now, right? Which is Earth.
Oh man, that's look. I gotta slow you down because you just said something. You just said something hard that I don't think people really understand right now.
I don't even want to go.
It took 9 months to get here. It took 9 months just to get to the starting point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Question is, are you willing to go through it?
We've been going through it our whole life.
Are you willing to go through it?
We've been going
through it our whole life. Here's the thing, though, right? I think the biggest thing that I got from what you just said is that even when you speak about the Primerica agent, the development piece, it comes from either you have a mentor or you don't have a mentor. Because the best thing that's going to speak to you is an example, right? And so I think when I spoke about my story and I ended up going to North Carolina, when I went to North Carolina, one of the best things happened to me is I got a mentor. And my mentor, I would remember when I was, working with him, he came into College of Business. I studied business in college, right? He came into College of Business. He totally transformed the College of Business. And I'm talking about, we had these Wednesday night dinners. He said, hey, you guys had to come in. You guys had to wear a suit, right? We have these dinner etiquettes. We got to figure out what fork to eat our salad with. Look, to this day, I still don't know what fork to eat with the salad with, but that's neither here nor there. But we learn all these different things, learn about financial literacy, learn about entrepreneurship. I think Tino mentioned, he said, hey, entrepreneurship is, okay, well, how do I make some money? But also, how do I develop myself at the same time? It's like it goes hand in hand. And so as I started learning these different things and I'm working with him, he said something I'll never forget. He said that generational wealth is not just about money and land. He said generational wealth is about 4 things. It's about the systems, the principles, the values, and education that you instill into your family. It's the last part that got me, right? That you instill into your family. Because when you understand that, I started to realize that he would tell me that his whole mission is to build young kings. And I started to realize that the situations that I notice, and I have this like, wow, why my family going through this and why this happening? It's the reason why you asking yourself the question. It's the reason why you got in the financial industry initially, because God gave you that thought and that aspiration to actually go help somebody. So now I realized that is the definition of leadership. And that's what you have to embrace, is that I have to embrace that leadership within me. So that thing I would, recommend myself in the first year is to listen to my mentor. To listen to my mentor and actually just embrace the fact that I got somebody that has already been through it, and I can learn from them because they can give me a different perspective that I haven't seen before.
So, Danny, I want you to answer the same question, but I'm going to give you a slight different angle here based off of the things that was just said. So when you're talking about generational wealth, right, you're talking about people mostly focus on what they have to pass down. But with it being B2.0, it's the be, the do, the have, the knowledge, the system. So, Danny, talk to us a little bit about being.
Being, right? Who you are, who you have within you. Mm-hmm. Jaquez, I had to write it down because what he said about systems, principles, values, and education that you pass down to your family, like who else in your family is learning these things? Who else in your family is up Saturday morning to do calls, to do podcasts, to do anything outside of sleeping? Most of the time we have the weekend to do whatever we want, to go lollygag. But it's a different kind of mindset. Like my kids are outside the room. They know that I'm here doing this right now. They see what I do. They see how I work, all of that. So they're seeing this is the type of person that I should look for as a father figure or as a male figure as they grow up. I have to be the example. So the real question is like, who do we have to be for our family? And you might be a single person. You might have a boyfriend, girlfriend. You might be interested in somebody else. You might be thinking, oh, I don't have nobody. I've been single forever. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to be that person that attracts that person to you. The person that you want to have on your team, the person that you want for someone else. Like, you have to be able to see that within you and know that you have to make that change Like I had to see that in myself. I had to realize that I had to be healthy. I had to realize that I had to change what I eat. I had to realize that I had to watch what I'm watching, like make sure I'm not watching trash. I had to make sure that I'm reading things that are going to educate me. And it's a long process. None of this stuff is overnight. We see everything on social media. These people just blow up with hundreds of millions of followers and all these views. And okay, good job, bro. But if you don't have the foundation to actually keep that down, if your house is not built on a firm foundation, it will fall in the future. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she felt a certain way because, you know, naturally we all compare ourselves to other people. It happens. And I told her, I was like, Mom, for you, what the reason it's taking you so long is because you're laying down more bricks. You're putting down more bricks in your foundation. So you're not going to see success immediately. But because you've taken this action, you've made that change, you've done this, these are all little bricks that are going to help you build up a bigger house. So don't worry about somebody else's house if you can't even see their foundation. Focus on building your foundation and everything else will come from it. So with B2O, we're helping people learn how to build a strong foundation. And it's not just the foundation of making money. It's the foundation of what you're building in your head. What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? What are you watching? And once you understand that you need to make that change and you want to actually make that change, that's when you start realizing the change. But it's not going to happen overnight. This is years in the making. And eventually you might see a win really quick. You might see a little bit longer, but don't disregard the day of small beginnings.
That's good.
Okay. Kenny, I got a question for you. This is just out of my own curiosity real quick. What'd you do last night?
Oh, snap.
What did I do last night?
Call him out. Call him out.
I really want to know.
I can tell you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You want me to tell him what you did?
Yeah, you
Kenny was up. Kenny and I were up. It was 2 in the morning for him, I think it was, and it was close to almost midnight for me. And we were going over some more details on B2O. He was going over some more coursework foundation. Like he literally called me up on the phone and we sat on the phone, like video calling, talking about this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to lay it out. He could have been out. Like we all watched the fight last night, the multiple fights, right? I know we did. It's okay.
Right.
But I missed it. I was reading.
You didn't miss much.
We in his room right now, right?
Yeah. So, but he could have been out there partying and drinking, but instead he called me and we were working on this stuff together. I was surprised. I mean, I was tired. I was up since 4 a.m. in the morning and he was here still having a phone call with me to work and build this stuff to prepare us for today, prepare us for the week, all of that. So Kenny he wasn't messing around last night, which was funny in my opinion. It was dope.
And I didn't go to like 5 in the morning. I was cutting videos up. I can only be an example, right? So as the founder, the CEO of the company, that's just a title. Anybody here is a CEO. Everybody here is a CEO. You are the CEO of your life. It's number one. I don't care about titles. I can only be an example. So for anybody that's going to join our community and become the B2.0 version of himself, I have to be that example because now I'm pouring into everybody else.
That's it.
So I can't cut corners. You guys make me more disciplined. You guys make me more conscious of I can't make certain decisions because there's a domino effect that other people is going to incur, whether it's positive or negative. And if I go out and drink and I party, and yeah, there's a time and a place for that, but right now it's not right now. We're about to go on another run. I'm about to go another run.
Yes,
about a 5 to 10 year run.
Yes, sir.
I'm out of here. So that's not even on my mind. My mind is how do I go have a significant impact and build people up, build myself up, build my family up, and have a significant impact on all the things that is attached to us. So I'm locked in. And I made a video in Arizona and with Billions, shout out to Billions, and he asked me what's my why. Well, my why is to show my family that you're able to become another version of yourself. And you're still able to, despite where you come from, that doesn't determine where you're going. So, I lead by example, and it's a responsibility that whoever come on to B2.0 that the pilot is right. Right? There's a lot of people that own companies. The pilot is not right. They might be on drugs. They might be drinking. They might be doing all these self-destructive things, and they come in and try to lead you, and you realize your life is you're going into circles, and you're like, why am I going to circles? I'm doing the thing. I'm developing myself. I'm reading. I'm training. I'm doing all the things that I need to do. But the leader is the person that is influencing you, and once they influence you, you take their word and you embody their word. And now you live that word out based off what they're telling you through your life, and based on the things that you're receiving is your experience. So just because they're successful doesn't mean they're healthy internally.
Man,
So-
that just made me think, like, as far as leadership, it's like, are you following somebody that's going somewhere? Or are you following somebody that's just taking a walk?
Come on now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I followed a few people that take walks. Over here at Universal Wealth.
Little Sunday stroll.
Sunday stroll to the park, pick some pennies up. Don't pick pennies up, man.
Before we change, I want to make sure people understand what's going on right here, right? When we talk about B2.0 mindset, right? We talk about this. The reason why when I say I speak to Kenny every single day is because he has that mindset. When I compare him to a lion is not the biggest, not the fastest, but when they see it, and if a lion see an elephant, they think lunch. That's the type of mindset that we have here, right? At B2.0, when you talk about environment, because some people might be thinking, well, when it comes to I gotta move away from my family, I gotta move from Jacksonville, Florida, and go to Washington State. Like is this the type of things I gotta do? But that's not the point here. Is the environment has to shift if you want to make a shift, right? Because when you think about a king, right? A king was not made for the kingdom, but the kingdom was made for the king. So if you was to put a king inside of a circus, the circus doesn't automatically just become a palace. You know what happens? Instead, that king becomes a clown because he's in a circus. B2.0, we're make sure we're curating positivity. We'll make sure we're curating lions. We make sure we're curating financial professionals that understand the value of what Tino said, something that I never knew about. He said in our community, when it comes to African Americans, did you say what was the stat again? He said
less than 10%.
Less than 10% of financial professionals are African American. I did not know that. But that goes to show another question you want to ask after that. Well, who is actually helping the families that need to be helped in our community in that aspect? So we need individuals to say, all right, I'm done with the partying on Friday night. I got to make a difference, not only for myself, but my family. So I just want to, like we say, land that plane for B2.0, because what we're doing here is something monumental. And like you said, the leadership is very, very important. That's our goal, is to build leaders.
Man, Danny, you look like you got a lot in thought, man. I want the nuggets.
Honestly, I'm soaking in everything that they're saying, because I mean, for me, my change in that environment was extreme for me, and it might not be that extreme for everybody else, but you have to be honest with yourself. If you're going to stay where you're at, like, for example, if you're going to stay in the city that you're at and you want to have a change, but you're still going to hang out with the same friends, you're still going to go to the bar, you're still going to go to the club, do you really want to change? And if you're not strong enough to make that change, then maybe the change isn't for you. And that's okay. Not everybody's going to change.
That's it.
But for me, I wanted to change. I needed to change because I couldn't handle where I was at. I knew that if I stood in the environment that I was in, I was never going to have a change. So we made that big leap to move to another state. And we're even thinking about moving out of the country. Like, to me, moving is just moving. Like, my home is where my family's at, and it may not be that extreme for other people, but you have to be real with yourself to realize, are you willing to make that change? If you're willing to not go and hang with those same people, change your circle, then go change your circle. But if you don't have the strength to do it, then literally change your environment.
Yeah, that goes back to that. What's that one quote that says, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And so staying in that same, staying the same person, staying with the same mindset, staying with the same environment, that was just causing so much pain. It was like, we got to do something different.
It costs too much, and everybody have a price to pay, and most people pay more than others because they're so comfortable and attached with who they are versus who they need to be. Yep. So it's New Year's around the corner. We know what's gonna happen.
The gyms know what's gonna happen.
Only 95%, only 5% of people that set New Year's resolution goals hit them. 95% of people miss their New Year goals. Why is that? Because they're attacking these lists of goals as the old version of self versus the 2.0 version of self. You want to raise your goals, but you don't raise your standards. Where does that make sense at? Nowhere, right? And just to touch on to what you were saying regarding environment, when I moved to Miami was very hard for me in the beginning. But when I moved to Miami, I came through New York Life, and New York Life is a company that everybody knows sell life insurance and whatnot. I'm going there with a optimistic and positive mindset, meaning, I came from New York, which had a good environment, good culture. I'm gonna go to Miami. It should be the same exact thing. Nobody paid me no mind. Nobody cared about me. Nobody wanted to help me at all. They had me at these parks handing out flyers, right? And I'm like, I'm handing out flyers, but I had to go through that to value all the things that Andre is building and Jason's building and Jesus is building, because we don't know how blessed we are. And a lot of advisors, or new advisors, doesn't know how blessed they are because we took the shots for you guys. Andre, Jason, Jesus went through the pain of struggling and flyers and paper applications and doing all these different things that you guys are able to take the elevator.
That's good.
To success. Not the steps, the elevator. Same thing with B2.0. We took the shots and we have a bridge that we built that's able to help you get to where you need to be faster, potentially. Because what you put into this life is what you're going to get out. That's with everything. If you want to be successful or you want to change, you're going to change. The reason why people change, or the reason why people don't change, is very simple. It's so simple that people miss it. People that don't change because they don't want to. People that change because they want to. If you want to change, I made up my mind and say, all right, I'm gonna make a decision to change. People that don't change, they make choices and say, you know what, I'm gonna change today, I'm gonna change tomorrow, or I might change next week.
Mm-hmm.
Lopsided. And you wake up 5 years from now and like, where did my life go? Your life went exactly where you thought it was gonna go. We're gonna grow whether we want to or not. The only difference between a person that grows into the person that they want and have the life that they want is intentionality. The law of intentionality. If you're not intentional about your growth and how you spend your time, then life is just going to give you whatever life is going to give you. And that's the life that you don't want.
Yeah.
Right. So I wanna talk about the community, which is the competent connectors, and why we named it as the competent connectors. Well, I didn't name it. Jaquez named it, and I liked it because he named it, and I liked it because he's like, we very competent. I said we are. I said that's why we're getting the results that we want. Not besides just understand who we are, where we're going. We also have to understand the business of finance. There's no gray area in this business. Either you know or you don't. If you're not competent, step out the way and start studying and leverage your leaders until you get there. I split my business for almost 1.5 years in the financial space. And I didn't care about the money. I cared about the information I was learning throughout. Right? If I make $100,000, I could have made $100,000, but I split and I made 50. But what did I learn? I learned over $250,000 worth of information in the process, know how to deal with that and learn and do it by myself. So was that $50,000 a cost or was it an investment? We have to understand we're going to go and look at our leaders on the financial side. They're investing inside of you. And the cost is half of the business until you become what? Competent. So the more competent that you become in your space, then the more successful you are gonna be. But it takes time and becoming that second version of yourself. So within the competent connectors community, we have some words, right? You know, I'm gonna share with you guys. This is what shaped my mindset. This is what I tell myself every single day. I'm unbeatable. No one can beat me. I'm addicted to results. I'm gonna dominate. I'm hard to kill. Abundance is my birthright. I'm a savage with integrity, and I put purpose over profit. Because the biggest asset that we're gonna have in life is our relationships.
Mm-hmm.
They print money every single day. They don't print Jaquez. They don't print Tino. They don't print Danny. You guys are so valuable to me that no amount of money is able to repay you guys on what we're gonna go out and help. We're gonna make some money, right? Whether in the financial space, whatever we do, but I can't replace the value that you guys bring in my life. And I want to say that publicly. And thank you for coming on this journey together. And we're gonna have an impact, and we're going on another run, right? So yeah, dominate, hard to kill, unbeatable, unshakable faith, unwaverable faith. You can't beat me.
Let me do this. Let me do this last thing before I know we're about to close out. Tino, tell me when you met Kenny. I want Danny to do this as well. When you met Kenny, what went through your mind? Like, I know y'all met in the financial space, right? What went through your mind initially, and as you learned about him, what do you think about him?
Oh man, so the thing with Kenny, when we were talking, I'll put it like this. Oh man, and even shout out to yourself for coming up with the name Competent Connectors. Because I had so many dots lined up. They were in the line, but they weren't connected. And Kenny was just like, hey, connect this here. Here's how to connect this one. And I was just like, that's all I needed to know. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. Danny, what'd you say?
I mean, when I first I saw Kenny, I think it was, oh man, where was it? I think it was Orlando or somewhere. I don't know. That's where I first saw him. I saw him talking on stage, and I'm like, oh, this guy's from New York too. Oh, he's sharp. Okay, he got something smart to say. It's not like it was a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, I got to meet him. And then my friend, one of my mentors said, hey, you got to connect with Kenny. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then I meet Kenny at Arizona, and we just clicked there. And I was like, he's still the same sharp guy. He's still the same. Like, him and I still talk like as if we knew each other for years. There was no down talking anything. There was no I'm better than you because of X, Y, Z. It was like, no, how can we work together to help you get better? I was like, geez, you don't have conversations often with people who are actively looking how to help you improve. Most of the time when I talk to people, it's like, or when people talk with me, they want to know what they can get out of me. It wasn't like, oh, what can I help you with? You know? So that was shout out to Kenny for being 100.
Reason and the reason why I asked that, right? Y'all know Deion Sanders, right? Deion Sanders, he would say, I think he still got it in his bio. He said, don't let my confidence offend your insecurities, right? When I first met Kenny, he would always say, he said, I'm confident because I'm competent, right? He'll say that between me and him and having the conversations, and I, listen to him speak to clients, hop on different calls. I'm like, man, this man confidence is at an all-time high. I'm like, bro, how do you get there? And I realized there's really two levels to, gaining confidence. It's the competent side, but also the character, right? You both mentioned both sides of that, right? And I think that when I connected with him, I realized that, right? It's the aspect that if I want to have confidence in who I am, I have to actually know my business. I have to study the business. If you look at the books I see right here, all these books are personal development books. Kenny got on my butt. He said, bro, stop reading so many personal development books. Read some financial books. You're in the financial space. I was like, oh, you're right.
Simple. Why do you not think that?
You see what I'm saying? So I think it's that level of it too, but also having that character. So when we say competent connectors, it's having that ability to say, okay, I am skilled and I can apply that skill, right? But then I'm also able to be myself and able to, express that to that next person, right? And so that's what we all about.
Okay. Hey, since I know we coming up on an hour, and not to take up everybody's day, let the people know where they can find you. Where can they get a little bit just to start on their journey to be the 2.0 version of themselves? Like, is it Be 2.0 on, where is it? Just let them know where they can find it.
Yeah. So if you go on Instagram, just type in B2Mindset and we'll pop up. You will see the logo B2.0 and click the link in the bio. We're launching in about 5 days, and join the waiting list, right? And we have a community you could join as well. But one thing I could tell you, the amount of time and effort and energy and strategic and because it's not about, I'll join communities and I don't get nothing outside of it but a bill. But this community, like the value that you're gonna get outside this community, that in this community is gonna be so over the top that it's incredible. So it's really about, how do I provide enough value in the community, and how do I provide the transformation and make sure that we sequence out the information that is applicable and everybody have momentum going the right way, right? Because everybody have information, but is it structured? Is it sequenced out? And when you teach it, does it provide a specific momentum for a specific outcome? So how we built the community is we have a whole curriculum on just mindset. So we have B2 mindset training every Monday at 6 p.m. And then we have Grounding Sundays. Grounding Sundays is probably one of the most important thing that we developed. And it's because of one advisor I was helping, is Darnell at Universal Wealth. And we had a conversation, and he said his brother was like, Darnell, that's not you. You used to work at Chrysler. Who do you think you are now? Why do you think you should be doing finance? Do some music, do something else. That's not you, bro. Be you. How the hell do he know who you are? Just because we change the perception of ourselves doesn't mean the perception of us can be changed by other people. So Grounding Sundays is being able to have an outright discussion about your week. What's happening? Who's doubting you today? What's some things that's on your mind that people said around you that you're struggling with? Because whether we like it or not, the words that people tell us is like on replay. We have this, and my mind is like a tape recorder, and we're recording things throughout the day. And words that people heard us, that come from us, that's come from around us, could be replayed every single day, and it's self-destructive. So Grounding Sundays is being able to get that out and open and understand it and move forward for the next week, right? Because we can't become the 2.0 version of ourselves without any pressure. We can't become the 2.0 version of ourselves without any adversity. But because we have a day specifically towards articulating our emotions and feelings and talking about what's happening, it gives us the ability to go into Monday with a clear mind, a clear heart, and a clear perspective to go and be that person that we need to be for our family. So on the way,
powerful, man.
On the way to breaking generational curses, your family is going to doubt you, but you're doing it for them.
Yeah. That's
so. Grounding Sundays is very important. I'm so committed. I'm giving up my Sundays to have an impact on people, because I understand when I was trying to become the second version of myself, everybody doubted me, and I had to know how to decipher the doubt that the external world was giving me, and not let that affect me internally. Because now, if the language I'm talking to myself is self-destructive, or I'm saying positive things and other people saying negative things, and they seep in, now I'm a double-minded person, and I don't know what I want. Right? So Grounding Sundays is very, very important for me. Like, that's probably the number one thing that I would say is going to have an impact on people.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's very important, because especially like when we talk about information and technology, everything is always upgrading, right? We always have the next version of these things. Mm-hmm. So why would you let somebody else keep you in the old, outdated version, especially when the world and everything around you is constantly upgrading?
Absolutely. This is going to be big. The B2 brand that we're building is huge. We have a lot of other things, legs to the company that we get ready to launch within the first quarter. We're going to go on a B2 Mindset tour, setting everything up. We want to be able to add some value to people across the nation. And it's going to be big. It's going to be transformational, and it's going to come from a good place, right? And everybody I do business with as on the team is because we have the same core values. We have the same foundation, meaning we're rooting in something bigger than ourselves, right? And nobody want to die with the empty eulogy. So we're building
that yesterday.
We're building that out because we just have a moment here, right? People say, I want to be rich. I want to make. Well, what is your definition of rich? Is it currency? Well, currency changes throughout the period of history. But people connecting with people never change. It stays the same. It's a principle. So I'm gonna digress. I could go off, but yeah, I'm very serious and unbeatable, and we're gonna dominate the industry.
All right, everybody, let's
we're gonna challenge that statistic, and I'm so serious about that.
Let's go. All right. Other final words, final thoughts.
It's in you. If you want the change, it's in you. Find the people who's going to support you. Don't keep listening to the ones who are going to talk you down.
Yep. Well, that's a wrap.
Hey, let them know one more time where they could find you, where they could find B2.0, where they could find competent connectors, where they can get connected, all of that, because I need to make sure that they got it.
You got it, Danny.
Yeah. So go on Instagram, because I know everybody's on Instagram. Just look up Be2Mindset, BE, the number 2, and then mindset. And that's where you can connect with all three of us on there. You can hit the link in the bio to get to the website. You can sign up for the waiting list so that you can be notified in your emails when we're coming out. We also got some different things going on in the emails, which is going to help you a lot too. So look out for that. I'm excited to have you guys on and to grow with us, for all of us to be the next best version of ourselves.
All right. And with that being said, I appreciate y'all for coming on. I appreciate all the wisdom, the nuggets that y'all dropped. I hope the community takes it, just cherishes it, use it, plan it, grow to the next level of themselves, upgrade to the B2.0 version of yourself, because at the end of the day, your legacy is on the line. Are you going to leave it with intention and purpose, or are you just going to have it be accident or circumstance? So just take that, think about it. And with that being said, Kenny, you got something else?
Yes. Be bold, be driven, be you 2.0. See you guys at the next episode.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tino. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tino.